Welcome into Tuesday, everyone. I hope you're having a great day and had a great weekend. Today, on our Tuesday Tips for Parents, we're going to be talking about when the new baby arrives. We had actually one of our martial arts parents about a week or so ago come in to have a conversation about the behavior of her older child and how much it was concerning her, and that she just really did not know what to do or how to handle the situation. Mostly because new parents, as you well know, you're sleep deprived. You're hungry because what you do get to eat is usually cold. You're tired. You're stressed out, being pulled in 50 million different directions, and it can just be difficult to remember to relate back to the age of your older child. So we had a long conversation about it, and I did let her know that we would do a show on it today. We would go in and do some research and look at different things and talk to different experts and talk to different people and get some additional ideas. Again, just so that we can try to be a part of that village that is helping her with her son as well as the new baby. So what we're going to do today is just sort of dive into that. We all know that we should start preparing the older child for the new baby before the new baby arrives. Sometimes we have time for that, and sometimes life just gets in the way and it's so busy that you may not have quite as much time to prepare as you had hoped. And that's okay, because regardless of the amount of time that you have had, you can get through it. You can get through it, and your older child or children can get through it as well. It's just going to take some patience and understanding on both parts, and especially on the part of the parents, to try to make sure that you're helping the older child as much as possible. So when the new baby comes in, you may see changes in the child's behavior. It could be everything from bedtime to all of a sudden they're acting whiny again when they were independent. It could be back talk. It could be getting in trouble at school, not doing homework. It could be things that they're saying, and I hate that baby. I don't want a brother or sister. I don't want them in my house anymore. It could be a multitude of different things. Probably what you see depends on the age of the child, and how you want to deal with it depends on the age of the child as well. So I guess the point of it is what do you do? Again, it depends on the behavior and it depends on the age of the child, but just some things in general is give out lots of extra I love yous and a lot of extra hugs. And just statements like, I'm so glad that you're my child. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad I get to start my day with you. Just as extra assurance. Most kids just really need the extra assurance that there's enough love in mommy's heart and daddy's heart to go around to everybody. And that they are not being pushed aside. They are not going to lose any love. They're not going to lose anything that they've had for their life because there's a new sibling around. It's sort of our job to help them see and realize that they actually are going to gain from having a new sibling. It's just going to take time for them to realize that. You can also ask friends and family members that when they come in, don't just immediately start oohing and ahhing over the baby. I promise that baby is never ever going to remember that they were not the first one that got a hello or a big hug or kiss when your friend or family member walked in the door. But the older child will probably remember that. So just to warn everybody ahead of time to take a quick moment to say hello to the older kid, give them a hug, a kiss, a high five, whatever their norm is, and then ooh and ah over the baby. Because then that older child is seeing that they're getting the first attention. The attention is not automatically diverted from them to the new baby, and they're not coming in second place behind the baby every time somebody walks in the door. Now, for our younger ages, sort of that 3 and 4 year old age, sometimes the 2s fall into this. Sometimes the 4s that have been in preschool for a while, they may fall into more of a 5 and 6 year old age group with the behavior that they display. But just in general, for that 3 and 4 year old age group, they're probably going to go back to very what we consider babyish behavior. If they've been off the bottle for a while, maybe they're just using a sippy cup, they may all of a sudden want to start using a bottle again instead of their sippy cup. They may all of a sudden start saying that they want pull-ups or they want diapers and they need some powder, just like they see you giving to the baby. All of a sudden, they may not want to sleep by themselves anymore if they've been doing that. They may want to come sleep with you. They all of a sudden may not want the light out when they go to sleep. Any things that we would consider a little bit baby. So it's okay just to be silly with that child for a few minutes. Just say, it really seems like you're kind of wanting to be a baby again too. Why don't you come crawl up in my lap and I'll have me a little baby and coddle them up like a baby and rock them and let them say goo goo gaga and pinch their toes or whatever babies do. And it's okay to laugh about it and be silly about it and make it okay for that child. Just a few minutes of that and that child will slip right back into the age group that you're used to seeing, that the sort of developmental age that you're used to seeing for the behavior of that child. They may flip-flop back and forth, but it's okay because they're seeing that they're getting your attention, that you do have times and moments for them. For that age group, bedtime routines are very important. Obviously, it's important for every age, but sometimes the younger we are, the more we need everything the same all the time. Well, bedtime routines can be one of the first things that change once a new baby comes into the house. As mom, if you're normally doing the bedtime routine, it may be dad that's stepping in to help out some now because you're having to deal with the baby. The child is not really going to understand this. They're not going to understand that mom can only do one thing at a time. So it's important for dad to say things like, hey, I'm so glad that I finally get to help now. I'm so excited to help. And if the kid comes back with, well, you don't do it right. That's not the way mom does it. You're not doing it the way I like. It's okay. Instead of just reacting back with a negative manner, just simply say things like, I know I don't do it anywhere near as good as mom, but I was hoping you could help me out. Maybe you can help me to learn so that you and me can do this together. Because it's still a bonding time with a parent, even though maybe it's not the parent that they're used to. And then once you have even just a quick 30 seconds, run in and give that child a good night hug, tuck them in, tell them how much you love them. That can help out a whole lot. The 5 and 6-year-old age group, they're a little bit more independent. They don't need you quite as much, yet you're still a major safety blanket for them and the way that they see the world. But because they're a little bit older, sometimes you can simply say things to them like if the baby spits up on them, hey, the baby didn't mean to do it. They're just a baby. They don't know that they're doing that. They're not a big kid like you, so they're not 100% sure of what they're doing and how to stop it. They can understand things like that. As the baby gets a little bit older, it's maybe crawling around and gets into toys or tears up a book or gets something, it's easy to explain to them, it was a mistake. We're gonna let me help you put your toys where the baby can't get to them. We're gonna get you a new book. I'll let you pick out whatever book you want if it's a torn book of something like this. So it's a little bit easier to explain to them, and they like to help. So let them help somewhat with the baby. Maybe they can read a book or sing a song while you're having to do a diaper change. Maybe they can sit and play with the baby with you for a few minutes just to get the baby tired right before nap time. Maybe they can read the baby a book at nap time. Let them help do what they feel like it is and let them know how much you appreciate their help and how much the baby appreciates them and how much the baby is so excited to have a big brother or a big sister. We just have to be careful not to have them help so much that they feel like they're a babysitter, they're having to do everything. So we want a little bit of a balance there. And with this age group, some alone time is key. They just simply want the alone time that they've always had with mom or dad. And it could just simply be a quick trip to the grocery store. If somebody else can take care of the baby, maybe dad's home, maybe there's a much older sibling, maybe an older teen sibling that can watch the baby for just a few minutes while you and the other child run to the grocery store. That's alone time for them because it's just you and that child. And maybe they're getting to pick out their favorite snack or something that they could do. Maybe they could have alone time, yet they can help pick out the baby food or the baby formula or something of that nature so that they feel like they're involved with the baby, yet they're still getting alone time from you. This should appease some of the temper tantrums and I don't like the baby and the acting out and all as well. Now, as we move into the next older age group, the 7 to 9 year old age group can be a very difficult age group. Their acting out tends to be a little bit more what we would consider aggressive. We have more hateful words sometimes out of that group. And sometimes we just get more defiance. That's probably a good word out of that particular age group. And sometimes it's at home, sometimes it's at school, and sometimes it's at both. But we need to specifically address that and try to get that group to open up just a little bit so that we have an opportunity to tell them how much that we love them. So most of the time, you ask your kid in that age group, how was your day at school? Fine. Is anything wrong? No. What's going on with you? What do you feel? Nothing. Okay. And that's about all you ever get. A couple of different ways to try to get different answers is specifically, or not specifically, ask very specific questions that require an answer of more than nothing or fine. Hey, what was your very favorite part of school today? What did you do in PE today? Did you do any science projects in science today? Did your teacher give you any positive comments today? Did your teacher say anything great about you today? What did you and your friends, I don't know, Cassidy, talk about today? So any questions that you can think of to ask them that require more than just one word answers, even if you get 3 or 4, that's more than just the one, and it can lead into more at length conversations. And it's okay to address the fact that they're very frustrated with the fact there's a new baby in the house and simply say, can you tell me what your favorite part of life was before the baby was here? And just let them answer. No matter what it is they're feeling, remember it's not right or wrong because it is their feeling. We can address misconceptions in conversations, but we have to know what those misconceptions are. And it's okay to say, all right, now I know these. We'll talk about them. What is your favorite part of life now that there is a new baby in the house? Even if you have to ask a few more probing questions after that to get some answers, at least it's their answers, and it's their answers about what they like in the house, about the baby being in the house. Sometimes the best time of day to get this kind of conversation out of this age group is at bedtime. As kids get older, sometimes we forget snuggle time. We forget that we want to tuck them in. We forget they need that 10 or 15 minutes from mom or dad at the end of the day, whoever is normally putting them into bed. So go in. Even if you have to put the baby down and wait for the baby to fall asleep, or let them stay up and watch an extra show that's a little past their bedtime so the baby can fall asleep, go in and snuggle with them. Lay in the bed with them for a little while, and then have these conversations. Validate the feelings. I know how frustrating it is. I know how angry it can make you that there's a new baby in the house, that the baby cries, that the baby needs food, that the baby uses too many clothes in a day. Whatever it is, just validate that feeling. It's okay. They just want to know that you understand. If you have siblings yourself, tell them, you know what? I remember I would be so mad at my brothers and sisters, and sometimes I just hated the fact they were in the house. But other times, I absolutely loved it because this is what we got to do. And I only got to do these things because I had a brother or a sister or both or whatever your situation was. If you didn't have any siblings, you can tell me, you know what? I wish I had had a sibling because I'd like to do these things. Or, hey, have you thought about, are you excited that you can help your younger brother or sister learn to do whatever it is? Playing the drums, playing softball, doing martial arts, doing ballet, doing tumbling, whatever they like to do. Have you thought about how exciting it's going to be for you to be able to be the teacher of your younger brother or sister? So sometimes we even can sort of flop back and forth between the age groups. Hey, I know this was a suggestion given for this age group, but hey, it might work with my kid over here that's in a different age group. These, again, they're just ideas and suggestions of things that may work. I'm sure that you as a parent that knows your child better than anybody else, you can come up with other things. But then we still have the question of, okay, so my kid walks up and pokes the baby or hits the baby or spits at the baby. What do you do? How do you do that? What kind of discipline do you have for that? Because depending on your age, some of them are like, well, my mama would have whooped my butt and I lived through it, so that's what I'm going to do. And other ones are like, completely to the other realm. Some people will try to be in the middle. So kind of, what do you do? It's very hard sometimes to know because they just hit the baby or they poked the baby or kicked at the baby or whatever it may be. And that could be dangerous for the baby. But it could also make the situation, the resentment, worse if you do very harsh discipline. So we have to try to think of things that we think are going to work. Maybe things like, I cannot allow you to hit the baby because that hurts the baby. And we can't hurt anybody. We know that we don't hurt anybody. And then maybe have that child to sit in your lap or sit beside you on the couch or whatever it may be and say, what are you feeling that made you want to hit the baby? And whatever they say, again, try to validate that feeling. You're not validating the action because we can go back and talk about the actions and that, what consequence may occur because we had an action that we know was wrong, but what feeling caused that action? Because if we can validate the feeling and we can have a conversation about the feeling, we can begin to move past it. We can begin to embrace the love that has now entered the house because we have a new baby in the house. And we can talk about some of the things that we're going to get to do now because there's a new baby in the house and the positiveness that would come from it. Again, I hope these things have helped. If there's anything you would like to see us address, if there's any particular other suggestions that maybe you have that we could pass along to parents, please feel free to let us know. You can certainly comment below. You can also give us a phone call or a text at 336-270-6825, or you can give us an email at skills, SKILLZ, 4 kids, KIDZ, @outlook.com. Thank you for tuning in with us today, and I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday.